Okay, we are on chapter 2 of book 11, Lions at Lunchtime. And Jack and Annie just said that they wanted to go to the place where they saw the Africa book, and we are going to find out what happens. And this chapter is called Jump, Beasts, Jump! And as you can see, there's lots and lots of animals. So they just got there, and there's a bunch of giraffes, zebras, birds flying around, so many different animals. Bright light flooded the treehouse again. A rustling sound came from outside the window. Annie peeked out and laughed. Hey there, she said. Jack looked out too. A giraffe was eating leaves off the tree. It had a sweet, goofy face. Jack peered at the world beyond the giraffe. He couldn't believe his eyes. He saw a huge grassy plain, a wide river, and tons of birds and animals. More than he had ever imagined in one place. Giraffes and zebras were on the side of the river where Jack and Annie were. Gazelles and the big horned animals were on the other side. Where are the lions? Said Jack. I don't know, said Annie. Do you think it's always this crowded? Let's find out, said Jack. He picked up the book on Africa and looked at the picture of the animals. He read aloud. Every year in late spring, thousands of zebras and gazelles and millions of wild beasts migrate from the dry plains of Tanzania to Kenya. What's migrate mean? Said Annie. Jack pushed his glasses into place. It means they go someplace else for part of the year, like birds going south for the winter. Oh, right, said Annie. Jack turned the page to read more. Before they before they are safe in before they are safe in Kenya, the animals must first come across the Mara River. Zebras go first, then the wild beasts. The tiny gazelles swim last. Ooh, said Annie in a sad voice. What's wrong? Said Jack. Poor beasts. She looked out the window. They seem afraid. On the far side of the river, the horned animals were standing at the edge of the steep bank of the river. They stared down nervously at the rushing water. Jump, beast, jump! Annie shouted. Don't be silly. They can't hear you, said Jack. He studied the broad plain. I wonder where the lions are, he said. I don't know, but I have to go, said Annie. Go where? Said Jack. To the river to help them, she said. Help who? Said Jack. Those wild beasts on the other side, said Annie. I have to help them migrate. Are you nuts? Said Jack. Annie handed Jack the scroll and started out of the treehouse. Wait a second, said Jack. We haven't even read Morgan's riddle yet. Annie stopped on the ladder. We'll read it now, she said. Jack unrolled the ancient scroll and read aloud. I'm the color of gold and as sweet as can be, but beware of the danger that's all around me. What am I? Let me read it again. I'm the color of gold and as sweet as can be, but beware of the danger that's all around me. Annie started down again. Annie! We'll look for the answer in a minute, said Annie. What are you doing? Jack called. But there was no stopping her. Jack watched as she hopped off the ladder. Then she started to walk through the tall grass between the zebras and giraffes. I don't believe her, he said to himself. He quickly put the Africa book back into his backpack. He started down the ladder. When he stepped onto the ground, he looked around carefully. The giraffes were eating the tree leaves. The zebras were grazing in the grass. Tons of birds flapped overhead. This is okay, he thought. He just had one little question. Where are the lions? Now we're going to read chapter 3. Chapter 3 called Disaster. Come on, Jack, Annie called. She was almost to the river. Just a minute, he shouted. He wanted to study the giraffes and zebras. He pulled out the Africa book and found a picture of giraffes. He read, "The giraffe is the tallest animal in the world. Its legs alone can be 6 feet tall, and its hooves can be as big as dinner plates. The giraffe has a very powerful kick, which makes it dangerous to attack. For this reason, lions tend to avoid giraffes." Jack pulled out his notebook and wrote, "Notes on Africa. Lions avoid giraffes." He turned the page and read more. "Zebras live in family groups, as no two zebras have exactly the same pattern of stripes. Every baby zebra must learn its own mother's pattern." So we're going to make a zebra out of the letter Z, and we're going to make a giraffe out of the letter G. Because giraffe starts with the letter G, even though it says J, it's not the letter J, it's the letter G. Because sometimes the letter G says the J sound. We're going to make a zebra out of the letter Z, because it starts with the letter Z. Jack studied the zebras, trying to see their different patterns. But in the hazy afternoon light, all of the stripes made him dizzy. He blinked to clear his head, then read more. Zebras are the first to cross the river because they eat the coarset grass. After they've thinned down the top layer, the wild beasts arrive and eat the next layer. They prepare the grass for the gazelles, who come last. Wow, thought Jack. Each animal depends on the one that goes before. He wrote, "Animals all connected." Jack heard Annie shouting from the riverbank, "Jump, beast, jump! You could do it! Don't be afraid! Come on!" He looked up. Annie herself was jumping as she called to the wild beast. Jack sighed. "I'd better stop her before there's trouble," he thought. He put away the Africa book and his notebook. Then he jogged toward the river. His backpack was heavy and lumpy, bumping against his back. He had forgotten to take out the jar of peanut butter and the loaf of bread. Jack decided to leave them at the treehouse. He turned to go back, but just then Annie's shouting stopped. Jack looked at the river. She had vanished. "Annie?" he called. No answer. Where was she? "Annie!" Jack shouted. She had completely disappeared. "Oh, man," said Jack. The trip had barely begun, and already disaster had struck. He forgot about the stuff in his backpack. He just ran as fast as he could. He wove his way between the grazing zebras and giraffes as he raced to the river. "Help!" called Annie. So Annie's screaming for help. Jack can't find her. Your prediction is going to be, where is Annie? What happened to her? My prediction is that Annie is in the river. So I'm going to write, Annie is stuck in the river. Annie, we shall know that, Annie, is, I, 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 S, stuck. T, 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 t. U, D, K, in, I, in the, we should know that, river. That's a hard one. So listen to the beginning sound, R, and the ending sound, river, another R. Annie is stuck in the river. Notice I listened to all of the letters in that sound. Okay, you're going to make your prediction of what you think happened to Annie.